Let's understand anger. Anyone can be angry, that is easy, but to be angry with the right person, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not within everyone's power, and it isn't easy. While most people are familiar with anger, not everyone is aware of its underlying dynamics. Anger is a natural emotion that usually stems from perceived threat or loss. It's a pervasive emotion. It affects our body, thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Anger is often described in terms of its intensity, frequency, duration, threshold, and expression. Anger typically follows a predictable pattern, a cycle. The trigger phase happens when we perceive a threat or loss, and our body prepares to respond. Anger triggers differ from person to person, and can come from both the environment or from our thought processes. In escalation phase, there is the progressive appearance of the anger response, and our body prepares for a crisis after perceiving the trigger. Once the escalation phase is reached, there is less chance of calming down. In the crisis phase, our body is on full alert, prepared to take action in response to the trigger. In extreme cases, the crisis phase means that a person may be a serious danger to himself or to other people. The recovery phase happens when the anger has been blown off, or at least controlled, and there is now a steady return to a person's normal/adaptive state. However, an inappropriate intervention can reignite the anger and serve as a new trigger. The depression phase marks a return to a person's normal/adaptive ways. Consequently, this stage may be marked by embarrassment, guilt, regret, and/or depression. After the depression phase is a return to a normal or adaptive phase. A new trigger, however, can start the entire cycle all over again. Next up, fight or flight. The fight or flight theory, formulated by Walter Cannon, describes how people react to perceived threat. Basically, when faced with something that can harm us, we either aggress, fight, or withdraw, flight. It is believed that this reaction is an ingrained instinct, geared towards survival, and is manifested in bodily ways. When faced with a threat, our body releases the hormones adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. These chemicals are designed to take us to a state of alertness and action. They result in increased energy, heart rate, slowed digestion, and above normal strength. Understanding the fight or flight instinct can help us understand the dynamics of our anger response. Here's some common myths about anger. First, anger is a bad emotion. There is no such thing as a good or bad emotion. They are instinctual reactions, and we don't make conscious decisions to be angry. Anger needs to be unleashed for it to go away. Expressing anger in verbally or physically aggressive ways is not the only way to unleash anger. Note that venting anger does not necessarily result into the anger disappearing, although venting can relieve the symptoms. Ignoring anger will make it go away. Generally, all kinds of emotions do not disappear when ignored. The anger just gets temporarily shelved, and will likely find other ways of getting expressed. Some of our actions may even be unconscious ways of expressing anger. You can't control your anger. Awareness of anger dynamics, and a conscious effort to rise above your anger, can help you regain control of your reactions. If I don't get angry, people will think I am a pushover. The most effective way of instilling discipline in others is to have a calm, non-emotional approach to deal with rule breakers. Calm and rationality can communicate strength too. Let's see some helpful and unhelpful ways to deal with anger. What to do? First, acknowledge your angst. Second, calm yourself before saying anything. Third, speak up when something is important for you. Finally, explain how you're feeling in a manner that shows ownership and responsibility for your anger. Now, what not to do when angry? Don't ignore your anger. Don't keep the anger inside. Don't get aggressive. Don't use non-constructive communication style. Don't act passive-aggressive. Let's look at some warning signs. The first step in gaining control of anger is to recognize its warning signs. You have to be aware of symptoms that your anger is about to build up, so that you can catch yourself early and make the necessary intervention. This process involves taking yourself from the moment and observing your own reactions from a third-person point of view. Physical signs of anger: rapid heart rate, difficulty in breathing, headache, stomachache, sweating, and trembling. Emotional signs of anger: sadness, irritability, guilt, resentment, wanting to hurt someone, want to be alone, isolate oneself, and numbness. Behavioral signs of anger are clenching fists, pounding fists on table or wall, pacing, raising voice, aggression, and passive-aggressive behavior. Mental signs of anger are difficulty concentrating, obsessing over the situation, cynicism, and feeling vengeful. He who angers you, conquers you. It is not just our own anger that can get overwhelming. Another person's blow-up can also trigger intense reactions in us, including shock, fear, and even reactive rage. One of the tricky things about handling another person's anger is reacting in a way that will not escalate the anger. Most of the time, all an angry person needs is an opportunity to tell someone how they feel and have their anger acknowledged. Seeing that you are genuinely listening to their grievance can help lessen the intensity of their angry reaction. It is also crucial to understand when to back away, because not all angry reactions can be effectively dealt with. Be informed, be self-aware, take control, and take action. A recent study from Duke University reported that 10% of U.S. adults have both a history of impulsive anger and access to a firearm. The researchers found that 1.5% of adults with impulsive anger issues carry a gun. Anger problems seem to be growing in scope and intensity. The collateral issues associated run the risk of becoming more explosive and destructive. Do you also storm off from family dinners and regret later? Do you argue with your friends and feel guilty of hurting their feelings later? Do you, or your loved ones, also find it hard to deal with their sudden outbursts? Nothing is impossible once you set your heart on it. Gurukul helps you understand, manage, and overcome your anger for a happy and peaceful future.